Hello everyone, it's Thumper the Rabid Rabbit. I'm back to beat the dead horse of solar power, because in the last two videos I did, we looked at the solar power bias from east to west, which didn't seem to work out quite right, and then I did a quick time lapse to show the transit of the sun and how it was unusually biased to a little bit east-southeast and a little bit west-southwest for setting, suggesting that the light source of rust does not necessarily follow the visual of the sun in the sky. Shadows and the sun don't appear to necessarily match up directly with the light source of the island. So to help figure that out, I built this rig where I finished off a full 360 degree of solar panels so we could get an idea of what it looks like as the sun transits. Because in the comments, some of you astutely recognized that pointing your solar panel to the middle of the island would actually get you more power. What I want to show you here is that that is about half right. Well, it's not half right, it's about a third right. Let me show you why. So here I am at the northern station. I'm going to cut to some stills so I can show you different screenshots that I got. But before I do that, I want to show you this island. This is a size 4500 island. It's about the smallest island you can do procedurally generated and reliably get all of the major monuments. And so you can see it's pretty big. And so I did testing right here where I am on the northern half. I built the same rig down here on the southern part of the island, right in the center on the O line. And then I went to the middle line. This is 30 squares tall, so I went to the middle line 15, and I did a little mini test rig here and a little mini test rig here, and got different results or unusual results on all 4 locations. I'm going to show you some screenshots of it and how I figured out basically where the fuck the sun is on this damn island. Alright, so let's go to the screenshots. Here we have our northern test position at sunrise. You can see here that we have, as we saw before, sun is biased in the sunrise to east, southeast, a little bit south of east. Go to the next slide, you'll see, again, still biased to the south. This is the northern panel, this is the southern panel, and you can tell there's more sun on the south than the north. We go to 11:30, same thing. High noon, interestingly enough, this isn't noon, this is 1:30 p.m. in the game, and this is the middle of the solar day, but the sun is obviously directly overhead at this point, and because of that, it seems to cover all of the panels. That's interesting. That suggests the sun is very much vertically overhead, not visually, but the light source is overhead of our current position to a large degree. Now we get later in the day, 3:30, 5:30, and then finally 7:30 we get to sunset, and you can tell sun's pretty much off to the west, but a little bit southwest. Now let's go to the southern hemisphere test location. Same rig, southern hemisphere, very different results. First, right off the bat, the sun isn't off to the east, it's very much off to the northeast. 9:30, still biased northeast. 11:30, middle of the solar day, 1:30. Not quite even. Seems to be a little bit biased to the east than the north, but that may just be, anomaly of the placement of the panel here. Then we go 3:30, 5:30, and then finally sunset 7:30. Same deal. The sun is off to the northwest, not off to the west anywhere. So I used these two, northern, southern, and the east-west test positions that I didn't show you here to triangulate where I think the sun is rising and setting. That is to say, where the sun light source starts and ends. Here is grid line 9, between 9 and 10 on the map. You can tell that the east panel 17, northeast, southeast are even, suggesting that the sun, or at least the light source, is originating due east of our present position. Here's high noon, completely washed out. Sun is obviously directly overhead, even though the shadows are rendered from the north. The sun appears to be to the north. The light source is almost directly overhead of our position at this point. And we're not that far from the original test position, which is up here on the northern part of the island. And we look at sunset, not even, suggesting the light source is not due west of us. The light source ends to the west-northwest of us. So let me go to a map screenshot that I can draw on here so I can demonstrate what I'm talking about, because I realize that's hard to hear and understand what the fuck I'm saying. So, oh, that's little. I want a big dot. Big dot. Here we go. This is the test position in the north. This is where that test position I was just showing you is, where I think the sun is transiting. And the southern position is way down at the bottom of the island. This is 30 squares tall. Middle of the island is 15. And if you triangulate from where the sun rises here, we'll use a different color. This test location shows the sun rising this direction, setting in this direction, not quite as far south. This shows the sun rising due east and slightly northwest this way. In the southern test station, we're seeing the sun rise this way from this direction and setting in this direction, very much biased to the north. So what that means is the light source appears to originate somewhere around here on grid line 910, and it appears to finish somewhere around like 5 or 6 over in here, which means the sun's actual transit, let's see if I have enough mouse pad to pull this off, seems to run bisecting the top third of the island somewhere right along this path, roughly. And I say that because here it's directly overhead and even. Here at high noon it's directly overhead and even, but in the rest of the day it seems to be biased to the south. So it's the sun or light source is very much overhead, like here is what it looks like in the middle of the day. That's where the sun appears to be directly overhead. And if you look at the results of that southern station, it's only seeing sun to the north. Now, for those of you who are suggesting that the sun is in the dead center of the island, the dead center of this island is right here, grid line 15 and basically O, right? So it's obviously not here. It's not in the dead center of the island. In this specific procedurally generated map of 4,500 square kilometers, it appears that the sun bisects the top third of the island. Even though it appears to be up to the north visually, and the shadows make it look like it's to the north visually, the light source appears to bisect the top third of the island. Now, I'll give you a caveat that on a larger map of 6,000, the maximum size of 6,000 kilometers, it may be that the sun actually does go through the middle of the island because it's a bigger island. I didn't test that. I don't fucking care. I'm tired of this topic already. So, you know, if you have a 6,000 square kilometer map and you want to test out where the sun is and see if it's in the middle of the map, that's great. This is a common size. 4,000 to 4,500 is a common size. It's reasonable for servers to run. It's big. It has all the monuments. Not going to be uncommon to be on a 4,000 or 4,500 square kilometer map. In this case, the sun appears to transit across a bisecting line of the top third of the island. So, if you are building, my friends, up here on the north half of the island, looks like you're going to want to point your panels more to the south. If you're down on the south side of the island, keep them between northeast and northwest if you want to get the most sun. And if you're building in the middle of the island, you can probably pretty much put them direct east to west, although bias them to the north again a little bit, unless you happen to be directly on this line. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself with some testing, because it may vary by different island size and generation. But very clearly the sun is not, like the real world, north of the island, or at least the source of light is not truly north of the island. So, there it is. Has the horse pooped yet? Good. Pick it up, put it in the composter, make fertilizer. Good luck, and don't suck.